flag represented has been rather misinterpreted and misunderstood. It's taken on a meaning through the years that it did not originally have.
We're human beings and we have a history, and history should not be eliminated.
When the war started, there were 250,000 free black men in the South. And they didn't have the same social status as white people. They were free, they weren't slaves. But they did own slaves. 10% of those freed black men owned slaves. And the largest plantation in Charleston, South Carolina, when the war started, was owned by a free black man with 200 slaves.
My name is Nelson W. Winbush. I'm a member of the Jacob Sumner Camp 1516, Sons of Confederate Veterans. A reason for joining the Sons of Confederate Veterans, after the NAACP declared they would destroy and remove everything Confederate in 1990, I decided that I would do all I could to make sure that people understood what the Confederacy stood for.
What the Confederate flag represented has been rather misinterpreted and misunderstood. It's taken on a meaning through the years that it did not originally have.
I fight for the Union as a reenactor. I have as much respect and honor for the rebels as I do for the Union people. I think those people were just, even at that time, were just as honorable as we are. They were fighting for a cause just like we were. They might have been different causes, but we were fighting for a just cause. And it wasn't slavery.
There were several black soldiers fighting for the South, armed, and the one difference is the Confederates treated their black soldiers better than we did. They almost mutinied, and General Grant had to threaten to hang an entire regiment because they refused to fight next to a black regiment. Where in the Confederacy, their black soldiers got the same food, they fought side by side, they got the same weapons, they didn't have the same problems we had in our army.
My grandfather, Louis Napoleon Nelson, was a Confederate veteran. Company M, 7th Cav, Tennessee. He rode with General Nathan Bedford Forrest. He saw action at Shiloh, Lookout Mountain. This is a 1921 Tennessee reunion. It's the original picture and frame at Lookout Mountain. My grandfather's over here. Another black gentleman named Mr. Buchanan from Memphis is over here. This is a copy of my grandfather's application for pension in 1920. It was accepted. He was number 32, colored man pension, state of Tennessee. And what he had to do is he had to verify the fact that he did serve. So did black Confederates fight? I think I rest my case with that.
The Confederate flag that we are most familiar with, which was known as the Southern Cross or the St. Andrew's Cross, was actually a flag of the military. It was never a flag of the Confederate States government. This flag was reserved for the military forces, the Army, the Navy, etc. Again, it was not a United States government flag. Therefore, it never flew over a slave ship. It was not a representative of the Confederate government. It has been misinterpreted over the years that have, since the 145 years of the Civil War that have gone by, other groups have used it in ways that it should not have been used, and it often became perceived by this misconception as, well, that stands for racism or slavery. The truth be known is that Confederate battle flag never officially stood as a representation of the Confederate government or any kind of slave power itself.
You know, if the war had gone the other way and we had lost, then it would probably be the same sort of thing going on. You know, it's just the hatred against the Confederate flags is due to basically an ignorance of what they really stood for.
The red represents Christianity, Southern God-fearing people. You have another religious symbol, the St. Andrew's cross, the blue for purity. And spread along the cross, you have the 13 stars representing the 13 states that seceded from the Union. The star in the center is most significant because it represents the state of Maryland. And its significance being that when it came time for the Maryland to vote, President Lincoln had the governor and the Maryland legislature locked up so they couldn't vote. A lot of people, even today, do not realize that Maryland is a southern state.
This is a war that anything that happened in American history, regardless of who was involved, it's all intertwined. It's a heritage that all of us Americans can claim and should be honored for. You know, our ancestors sacrificed their livelihood. They shed their blood for it. This is something that we all try to remember out here. This is a part of a heritage that we all can claim. And it's something we should all be proud of, to remember those who have gone before us and the sacrifices they made, the legacy they left us, and the path that they've guided us on that lies ahead for us.